We need that music to continue into the show. And I've said this before on Ice Cream Uploads, but it has to come through because it's just the bomb. Anyway, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. And I'm looking a little bit grainy, pixelated today. The camera needs to sort stuff out. Anyway, good morning. My name is Graham Day, and this man in a box, looking ghetto smurfy, is Bibby. Good morning, Bib.
Good morning. Good morning, all. Yes, I am back on the toilet again.
Yes, as you can see, I am at home today, so we're doing a remote stream, and Bibby is being evicted from the Ice Cream Upload studio once again. And once again, we can't tell you why. We will hopefully be able to show you why tomorrow, potentially. So it's worth keeping that in mind. And you know, if you're free at 10 a.m. tomorrow, then drop back in to see what we've been doing. It's not within the studio itself. We're just using the studio space for something else. But we will see.
Absolutely.
Hashtag tease. By the way, don't go to Twitter and search for hashtag tease because there's some scary things on there. By the way, I know this. I've used the hashtag tease before on Twitter and had people going, "You do realize? No, I don't." And now I've seen it. I don't ever want to know again. Anyway, good morning. My name, as I said, is Graham, and this is Bib. You are watching Ice Cream Uploads, and in true ice cream fashion, this is The Scoop. What is The Scoop, I hear you cry? Well, this is our daily dose of all of the news from the games industry and beyond. We bring you our thoughts and impressions on a handful, only the cream of the crop of gaming news. And we have a little bit of discussion with you guys live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. If you are live on Twitch, you are the only people that get to talk back to us. We can have a conversation. Me and Bib will talk, obviously, but we will have your input too. So if you're watching on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, feel free to get involved in the chat. Because those guys watching the podcast later on YouTube, they don't have the ability to interact with us like you do. And those listening on our audio podcast services on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. Those four places you can consume the Ice Cream Upload scoop a little bit later on today. Those guys don't have any chance to converse with us. I mean, a lot of people would try to avoid that, but on the internet we do weird and wonderful things like speaking to me and Bib, and you guys get to do that right now. How's life in the toilet, Bib?
It's rough, mate. It's cold. Someone left the window open.
Oh, really? Nightmare.
No.
Hold on a second. I need to tweak my lighting. It's all just kind of gone skew. Alexa, turn on the lights in the studio. Or not. It's fine. Didn't want them on anyway. Alexa, turn on the lights in the studio. Hey. Oh, we've got a pinky toe.
Are you asking Alexa to do work for you?
I ask everyone to do work for me. You should know this by now. Why do it yourself when you've got other people to do it for you? Today he's defo gonna be holding back the yawns.
No, I got at least a good 7.5 hours last night.
I'm not jealous.
So I am refreshed.
It's loads of pictures of Bibby in suggestive poses. Hashtag tease. Maybe it is.
It could be.
Maybe it is. No, it's pretty cool. Like I said, we should be able to show you tomorrow. Fingers crossed. If not, depending on timings, we might have to show you on Monday, but we will show you at some point. So if not tomorrow, Monday. But that's fine because you're all going to be here 10 a.m. every single weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We bring you the scoop. So if we don't give you the news tomorrow at 10 a.m., we'll give you the news on Monday at 10 a.m. One second, I'm just going to tweak this light because I am noticing that I'm pale anyway, but like mega pale.
Oh. Paler.
Yeah, exactly. Pale into insignificance. No.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, what looks better for you guys? Does that look better? Or
turn the camera off.
Or that look better? Do you know, I think that one looks better. I'll just stick with that one. Anyway, forgetting the camera because you guys listen on the audio service. You're just like, I don't even care. I can't see this. Just move ahead. So that's what we'll do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of news to go over just for your guys' entertainment. So if you wanna stick around, you can do it, and if you don't, then tough, you're here, you will stay here. Now I'm sorry. Jumping into our first piece of news, this is written by Wesley Yin-Poole from Eurogamer, and as you can see on screen, this month you can get £162 worth of games free on PlayStation Plus thanks to advertising. FIFA 20 gets South America's Copa Libertadores exclusively in March 2020. Good goal. Oh, GG. Oh, what a tagline. Well done, Wesley Yin-Poole. FIFA 20 will get the Copa Libertadores tournament exclusively in March 2020, EA Sports has announced. South America's biggest club tournament hits the game as part of a free update that also includes the Sudamericana and Recopa. The update is for the PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game. EA's note to press does not mention the Switch version, which will come as no surprise to FIFA fans who will play on Nintendo's console. That comment there, EA's note to press does not mention the Switch version, which will come as no surprise to FIFA fans who play on Nintendo's consoles. I don't play FIFA on Switch. I have played one game in my entire life, and it was against Bibby in an airport coming back from Gamescom. I think. Yeah. Do FIFA's licenses not usually port over to Nintendo's Switch?
No, it's because this year they released a legacy version, which is basically FIFA 19 with updated kits roster. That's it. They didn't do any new game modes, didn't do any gameplay tweaks, they didn't do anything. All they did was just change the kits and update the transfer market within the game. So, yeah, it kind of means that they're not even bothered about what it's like anymore. Did you ever play FIFA on the Vita? Because they did that for like the last 4 years of the Vita's lifespan.
No, so
legacy versions.
When you say legacy versions, do they still call it FIFA 19, or do they call it FIFA?
No, they just call it FIFA 20. So they still sell it as a £60 game, but just with nothing in it, just like updated kits and rosters. That's it.
That's ridiculous. But if they're updating the rosters, then that means they're updating the licenses, and if they're updating the kits, they're updating the licenses. But what happens with new licenses then? Does that get reflected? So let's look at FIFA 20. FIFA 19 had Juventus. FIFA 20 has Piedmont, whatever it's called, Piedmont Calcio or whatever it's called. I'm assuming FIFA 19 won. FIFA 20 on the Switch also has Piedmont or whatever they're called.
Well, it has to really, doesn't it?
But then you'd expect them with that. Then if they get the Copa Libertadores license, you'd expect that to go over, or is it just because it's a separate?
Well, I think they are expecting it to go over, but they're just not talking about it because they don't care about it. Like, it's not the forefront of their minds when it comes to promoting the game. Like, they always say PC, PS4, and Xbox One the same way that the Vita got the dirty. Like, they just don't mention those because they don't think the sales are big enough, so it's kind of irrelevant to them.
Just an interesting way of phrasing it from Wesley Yin-Poole in the article. EA's note to press doesn't mention the Switch, which will come as no surprise to FIFA fans who play on the Switch. I mean, is that just because they're used to being ignored then? Is that what?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I put it down to.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's continue with the article. And the update adds a host of new clubs from Uruguay, Peru, Paraguay, Ecuador, Brazil, Argentina, and more, such as River Plate, Boca Juniors, which is kind of the Lego team, Boca Juniors as well, or instead of, Flamengo, Corinthians, Racing, Independiente, Católica, and Colo-Colo. It's worth picking out Argentinian arch-rivals River Plate and Boca Juniors, which are mentioned by EA as teams coming to FIFA 20 in the update. These teams are not officially licensed currently in FIFA 20, although they are in the game under unlicensed names, Núñez and Buenos Aires. With the update, FIFA 20 will be able to authentically recreate the dramatic Copa Libertadores final of 2018, which saw its return leg played at the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium in Madrid, Spain, due to a lack of security in Buenos Aires. I went to Argentina. I went to Buenos Aires just after that. It was December time because I believe it was like late. I think because they had to replay it, and yeah. Anyway, it was quite fresh in their minds. It was obviously Boca versus River Plate. I'm trying to remember who won. Can't remember, but it was like mass riots and stuff. The coaches kind of getting absolutely trashed.
River Plate one.
I thought so.
Carlos Tevez got like something thrown through the bus window or something. Did it hit him in the head?
Yeah, and I remember one of the players got glass in their eye or something as well, and it was just like. But anyway, moving back to the topic at hand, Copa Libertadores exclusive in FIFA 20, starting from March 2020. I must admit, it's not surprising news for me. I mean, obviously, it's surprising in terms of I didn't expect a license like that to change. Tear gas, I think, says Kangaroo Dog. Thank you very much, Kangaroo Dog. Welcome to the chat, by the way. It was.
That's Alpi.
Well, what a name and a half. Kangarilla dog. Is it a kangaroo?
Why
Is it a
not?
gorilla? Is it a dog? I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to. It's not surprising. I'm just trying to remember if the Latin American licenses are usually recycled at a different sort of time frame. Because March, obviously, is for us in the UK. That's not halfway, but it's kind of right near the end of the season. But it's still not at the end of the season. It's kind of a weird point for a license to be moved around. But with all of the shaking and shimmering of licenses this year, so with obviously Champions League last year going to FIFA, Euros being announced again for PES in 2020, and obviously Juventus been taken away. It's not surprising that FIFA are looking to grab a few exclusive licenses for themselves. I mean, Copa Libertadores isn't surprising for me at all in the fact that a lot of people, particularly those maybe watching this, obviously we have quite a lot of impact in the PES community because of the work we do with PES, so we get a lot of PES viewers. Thank you very much, Precision, for the host. Speaking about PES viewers, if you are on Twitch, check out Precision TV with an underscore at the end. It could have got it without the underscore, but it's just that cool that it needs to have a pause after his name has been said, just so that you take some time to fully embrace Precision TV. Morning, Precision. Hope you're in the chat. Hello. But obviously we work with PES, so we get a lot of PES viewers. But we also, being in the UK and Europe, we get a lot of FIFA viewers as well. So it's interesting when you see. Morning, you faggots. Hope you're well. We're good, Precision. It's interesting to see when you talk about FIFA, talk about PES. A lot of guys in the UK and Europe that aren't from the PES community will see, well, why do you even play PES? FIFA's the only game. But you go to South America, and that is complete flip reversal. It's like, okay, what football game do you play? Well, there is only PES, isn't there? Is there other things? Obviously, it's not that level because EA and their marketing is on point globally, but they only play PES. So seeing FIFA go after Copa Libertadores, I mean, that is a logical move from EA for me. If that is the territory where you are being like you are second fiddle, then obviously you want to go take hold of what is effectively the Champions League, but for the Latin American region.
Absolutely.
Late to the party. Does this mean that we? My God, I've just said late to the party, and my Amazon Blue Ring device has just started flashing up. A late to the party is not that name that I'm not going to say out loud. Late to the party. Does this mean that they will be missing from future PES games? Not necessarily the teams, but I expect Copa Libertadores to not be in the game. Well, I say expect it. It mustn't be because that says exclusively in March. FIFA 28 will get the Copa Libertadores tournament exclusively in March 2020. EA Sports has announced. So Copa Libertadores, the tournament, will feature exclusively in FIFA. That I imagine, but I don't know because licensing is the most ridiculous minefield in the world. I imagine that won't give them any teams. That gives them the right to use the trophy and to use the logo and to use the theme music and everything, just like you would get in the Champions League. I mean, I know that, and you can check Adam Batty's tweets from the PES team as well. He's said that they let the Champions League go, much to the disappointment of a lot of people, because the money that you're paying for the Champions League, you are paying for branding, essentially. You don't pay for access to any clubs, you don't pay for access to any teams, you don't pay for access to any players, you literally just pay to use that setup. And in terms of a football game creation, I mean, what is a tournament? Okay, you've got 16 groups of 4 or however many groups it is, which then goes through to rounds of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, final. That's just a setup. The way that you decorate that is what they are paying for. So putting that money into that and then going, okay, we're not getting anything from this, and then putting that's why using Adam's words, probably not directly, that's why we have the likes of Juventus exclusive this year and so on in PES. Obviously, full disclosure, we work with PES, that's why I keep saying we, because I just feel like, an extension of that. So, I expect to see Copa Libertadores, obviously, exclusively in FIFA 20. I don't think that will give them the teams, but once again, licensing is so complex. Copa Libertadores, there could be a different license there that says if you are taking part in the Copa Libertadores as a football team, you are granting us the permission to use your rights and sell the Copa Libertadores as a full package anywhere else. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but yeah. In my opinion, PES had the UCL rights for 10 years and done absolutely nothing immersive with it. I mean, that's a fair statement. That, like I say, I mean, all the way I've kind of explained it probably goes in hand with that. All we've seen from the UCL license is a wrap. So you look at what the UCL was last year in PES, and then look at what's the or whenever it was in PES. Was it last year? Yeah, before, I can't remember. Time flies. But then you look at the European Cup in Master League, for example. Then apart from the lick of pain, there isn't too much difference. But once again, is that down to PES? We don't know. There's all...
To be fair though, FIFA hasn't done balls all with it. They're all incorporate it the same way that PES did. They've got featured players or whatever their equivalent is over there. They've got the wraparounds in their season mode. They've got the anthem playing. It's not like it was, shall we say, 10 years ago when they was bringing out exclusive. EA brought out the UEFA Champions League games for like 7 or 8 years, or they'd incorporate it into their mode where you could, beat a team and then you beat United and you can take Wayne Rooney kind of thing. No one's done anything specific with them apart from incorporate them into the money making My Club or Ultimate Team as featured players.
I'm not.
No one's done anything with it. It's, what can you do with it nowadays?
I'm not sure if that is on the teams though. It took PES 10 years to do the same thing. I think FIFA will do madness with it. It's their first year in it. I mean, that is one potential. It could be a case of they've just got the license, they've not had time to activate on it. The other potential is that because UEFA and FIFA are such powerful global brands, I know from experience that trying to work them into something that if you have plans for something, I'm trying to not give too many details because I don't want to go into specifics, but we've tried to do events or activations or campaigns that tie into that, and we've had to strip a lot of that out because of what you have in mind for your brand and your let's use the word brand guidelines here, just because it'll make it easier going forward. What you have, so you've got an activation, and you have brand guidelines for that. I want it to look like this, I want it to sound like this, I want it to be described as this. But then UEFA and the Champions League have their own brand guidelines that says we can only ever be referred to as this, and we never go second place, we never go first place, whatever. Brand guidelines of that and your brand guidelines then suddenly don't mash together very well. So it could be, I mean, I don't know. I only know from what I've had from dealing with UEFA separately. It can be quite a complex brand to work with. So if FIFA's in-game activation using the Champions League doesn't evolve too much on that, then it could just be at loggerheads. One brand and another brand, and it's like, look, guys, just work together rather than just going, mate, I'm the big brand here. I am whatever. If they just work together, then us as the end user, not as someone that works with the game now, we would then get a much better experience because we'll go past the lines of worrying about brand guidelines and who gets top billion or whatever legal crap's in the league, the licensing side of things. Us as the end user then could just find something that's much, much more immersive. One thing with FIFA and EA, obviously, they have a much more ingrained relationship. EA's game is called FIFA. That will always be a relationship. And having FIFA on board and the way that FIFA have allowed people to... the way that FIFA allowed EA to work with their brand will obviously give them a little bit more weight in terms of pushing UEFA into where they want to go with them. So it's their first year. They haven't done anything with it yet, but hopefully they can take that forward and move with it, because that will be good for anyone using FIFA 20, 21, 22, 23, however long the license for. If they can make it more immersive, then it will be good for everyone. Good evening, people, says Aimbot Christian. How are the squats, the stretches, the weights? I hope you're getting your sparring sessions in, mate, because you're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Good evening, says Number One Pirate. It's actually, I mean, even though it does quite look evening here. One second, let me just drop my lights. Alexa, turn off the lights in the studio. There we go. It kind of looks like it's an evening stream here. It's actually only 10:34 in the morning here. That's how glum it is in Manchester in the UK. Alexa, turn on the lights in the studio. There we go. So yeah, I'm sure it's FIFA's second season and only released UCL foot cards on UCL nights that I'm aware of. I mean, the thing with that is like I say, it can be such a complex. It can be such a complex brand to work with. 1 second. In the chat, Aimbot Christian says, "Ask Alexa who Aimbot Christian is." I had to pause then because she started listening. I wasn't talking to you then. Okay, Alexa, who is Aimbot Christian?
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is yet, but I love it every day.
That's a big yikes. Sorry, mate.
She doesn't know who you are yet, but she learns new things every day. And when you go 1-on-1 with KSI in the whatever arena, then you know she'll know by then. Just keep plugging away. Keep plugging away. So yeah, back on task. A couple of Libertadores. Hopefully they can build on it, and I mean, hopefully they can take it further than they have done with the UCL so far. From what I've seen, I believe Copa Libertadores is a brand that is more proactive in terms of working with companies than UEFA. UEFA, whilst it is such a powerhouse brand, I love UEFA. Not love UEFA. I love the Champions League. No one's ever an ass about an organisation, but the tournament. I love the Champions League. I always have. It reminds me of watching it on ITV 15 years ago, sat on the end of my bed when it's like school in the morning kind of thing. I've grown up with it. I'm now an old man that asks Alexa who Aimbot Christian is. So, you know, it's kind of grown with me. But, yeah, I want to see it fully utilised, but I find that the brand is so big that it kind of restricts itself. It gets in the way of itself, whereas Copa Libertadores allows a little bit more. Maybe he's having a bit of a rave in there.
Someone just echoing in the room.
So hopefully Copa Libertadores works well, and then we get some advancements for that. Because if that works well, then maybe they can give some examples of how the Champions League can work well, and if everyone starts moving forward, then we all benefit. So yeah. Any more to add on FIFA 20 getting Copa Libertadores? Good goal, Bib. Anything else?
I mean, not really. No, for me the licenses are irrelevant when it comes to losing them in PES anyway, because of all the other communities that help out trying to get the games licensed. I'll say in air quotes. But yeah, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. Neither of the. It doesn't matter if they switch between them. Nobody's doing anything separate with them anyway. So it's just all a lot of noise for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's. We use the phrase quite often, but smoke and mirrors. It's all the facade, the noise, the bump, the buzz. As going back to Precision, done absolutely nothing immersive with it. It was obviously talking about PES having the UCL rights for 10 years. I think that's kind of the same for all rights, really. For any football, well, most sports games. I mean, you go back 20 years ago. Longer than that, you go back to 97 or Road to World Cup 96. David Beckham on the cover on the Mega Drive and the SNES or whatever, the PlayStation's. I can't remember what format's looking at. Anyway, back then we had teams in the game that had the licenses and we had cover stars. Well, that's pretty much what we have now. Yes, there is a little bit more in terms of, you've got managers on pitch sides and stuff, but look at how far games and technology have come. Licenses haven't really progressed past that, whether that's down to the licenses or whether that's down to developers just kind of going, okay, well, we're just happy to just create this outside looking in. Road to World Cup 98, that's the one. So whether they're just happy to stick with that because that's a working strategy, I don't feel like that we've pushed any further. I feel like we could do it a little bit more. Whether Copa Libertadores is the brand to do that, I'm not unsure. I think we'll just see more of the same. But I mean, like you said, does exclusivity really matter? Because I mean, everyone can play as Piedmont Calcio and still have Ronaldo because they've got the FIFA Pro licenses, and everyone can play as any other team. And if you're playing in Ultimate Team, which obviously the majority of people are, then you're not playing as Juventus anyway. You're playing as Borbag FC or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the issue that I've kind of got with it, if I've got any at all, is that people always look back at like the first 6 Pro Evolutions where there was only a few licensed teams in there. Like for instance, Pro Evo 1 and 2. I don't think they actually had a licensed team. So Man United was called Manchester. And like, what was Leeds called? It was something wild. I can't remember.
Scum.
But yeah, there was that we didn't have any. We didn't have any licenses whatsoever back then. They didn't have no kits. Half the players was just all spelled incorrectly. and everyone looks back in hindsight as it's like one of the best franchises ever back then. Obviously, times change and people are just all about licenses now, and that's the reason why no one will give PES a look in if you're predominantly a FIFA player, because they're not asked about how the game plays. It's just because when they boot it up, they're not seeing someone in a Real Madrid kit. Or whatever it might be. So yeah, when it comes down to licenses, I'm not asked. The argument's void. I don't care as long as the gameplay's sick and it works. Then I'm not bothered. Whether or not that can go for PES or FIFA this year is dependent on your own personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, just had a quick look. They used to be called Yorkshire. I don't know of anything crazy in PES 1. Like they appeared as Leeds. In PES 2 and 3, they appeared as Yorkshire.
Might not have been then. I can't remember who it was. But there was like, was it Inter Milan? But yeah, there was some proper wild names that just have absolutely no relevance to, like Man United, Aragon.
Yeah, Inter Milan were called International in PES 2, Marche in PES 3, Lombardia, which probably have some sort of references to those that know, but not for me. Yes, I mean, when you've got option files and editing and you've got modes like Ultimate Team and My Club, Ultimate Team, you're going to have a legacy name, no doubt, that you've had for the last 7 years of Ultimate Team or however long it's been going now, and you'll get custom kits, and it doesn't really matter that much. And in My Club, most people will play as a custom team anyway. I play as Ice Cream Uploads FC and wear this exact jersey, exclamation mark merch, in the chat, by the way. I use this when I'm playing PES, so yeah, like I say, all smoke and mirrors, doesn't really matter. But from one license to another, let's jump into our next article. This is sticking with Eurogamer, but moving away from Wesley Yin-Poole. Martin Robinson says, "Rejoice! The world's biggest car company is coming back to Forza. Super news!" You might have thought that the announcement of a new Half-Life would be this week's biggest gaming news, but you'd be wrong because, hallelujah, Toyota is coming back to Forza. I remember when Aston Villa were named Dublin. Okay, anyway, back to this. Okay, maybe you're not as excited as someone who loves Akio Toyoda as his beautiful machines as much as me, and someone who's the proud owner of a Mark III Super. Oh my god, I'm going to start this again. Okay, maybe you're not as excited as someone who loves Akio Toyoda and his beautiful machines as much as me, and someone who's the proud owner of a Mark III Supra, that's 2 owners since new, and me 180,000 miles on the clock. But still, having the world's biggest car company come back in one of the very best driving games is something worth celebrating. The license has, in recent years, been in a strange stasis, with only Gran Turismo prominently featuring the brand, while all sorts of odd statements emerge from Toyota regarding its approach about video game licensing. I'm just going to see how long this... Yeah, okay, I'll click that link there that's in blue on the screen in a second, because that's a good story that came out whilst we were in Cologne for Gamescom. So Eurogamer spoke to Playground Games' Ralph Fulton late last year about what exactly was going on with the deal. Well thought, I could hear someone knocking on my door then. What's happened with Toyota over the last couple of years is we haven't been able to reach an agreement, which is unfortunate, he said. It's hugely unfortunate for us because, as car lovers, we feel the pain that our fans feel as well, and we will continue with our conversations in that area. That's not something we've given up on. It seems the two parties were quick to come to an agreement, with the Mark IV Supra coming to Forza Horizon 4 as part of its Series 17 update, which is due on the 12th of December. Is this the start of a return for Toyota to the wider world of video games? Will Playground Games do the decent thing and model any Mark III Supra that comes to Forza Horizon on the infinitely prettier pre-facelift model? My God. Would you like to buy my pre-facelift Toyota Mark Super for a reasonable price? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Nice, okay. It kind of brought it back around at the end. Anyway, so I think summarising, I am hearing, wow, I'm going insane. I can hear voices and stuff. I'm hearing voices! I think there's either someone knocking at my door and they've gone now, or someone is in the garden outside next door. So if you are hearing that background noise, I apologise. If not, it's just all in my head, and it's fine. The voices will just tell me to burn things, and it'll be all cool. But yeah, Toyota and the Supra is coming back to Forza. But the bit I wanted to click on there in the middle of that is the license in recent years has been in a strange stasis, with only Gran Turismo prominently featuring the brand, while all sorts of odd statements emerge from Toyota regarding its approach to video game licensing. That refers to this. So I'll click on the article, and
that was a crack at that.
see a massive advert. Wow, look at this. This is from The Drive by Chris Swee, which I've never heard of this site and I've never clicked through to this. So hopefully it's something that we can show on screen.
It is. I've already checked through it.
Sweet. So Toyota's PR team is being forced to do a bit of damage control after it offered a not so great justification as to why its cars aren't in the latest Need for Speed game. As it stands, Toyota street cars haven't shown up in any big name racing games in the past few years outside of Gran Turismo Sport on the PlayStation 4. Brought to our attention via GT Planet, the controversy first arose when a Twitter user tweeted at Toyota's official UK account on Tuesday asking where its cars are in the recently revealed Need for Speed Heat. Toyota then replied, "Not there. You can find our cars in GT Sport, which doesn't promote illegal street racing." Gritted teeth cringe emoji. That tweet has since been deleted, but thankfully GT Planet managed to grab a screenshot. And there you go. On screen is that tweet. So once again, someone asks where their cars are. They've said they don't promote illegal street racing, so that's why they're not in games, basically. So then back to the article. A couple of problems with that excuse. Toyota road cars were also conspicuously absent from 2017's Forza Motorsport 7, a closed circuits-only Xbox title which certainly does not promote illegal street racing. What's more, the new 2020 Supra was recently spotted on the set of Fast and Furious 9, which isn't technically a racing game, sure, but will almost certainly contain scenes of less than responsible driving, amongst other illicit acts. As logical as that refutation might be, Need for Speed's official Twitter account simply and appropriately responded, "Nerds." The very next day, Toyota UK took to Twitter once again to issue a multi-part statement prefaced by "about last night." So I won't go through that bit, but they basically go through and saying, "We tried to be edgy, we ballsed it up, we love racing games, some of our team have played Gran Turismo and games on the Ataris and stuff like that." They offer a translation. "We hear you, but our lawyers aren't letting us talk about our exclusive licensing deal we did with Sony. Toyota, blink twice if that about sums it up," which is a quality line. So yeah, basically, Toyota tried to be edgy, ballsed it up, alienated all gamers, and then did like a 5-series thread apologising for the tweets. And then fast forward, we are back in 2019, and they have secured rights to appear in another racing game. They are now not just exclusive to Gran Turismo, they are now in Forza, and hopefully will start appearing in Need for Speed Heats and all the rest, because, I mean, for me growing up, for a brand like Toyota that doesn't promote illegal street racing and doesn't want to appear in street racing games, I got, from a gaming perspective, I fell in love with them from playing with Toyota cars in illegal street racing games. I don't know about you, babe. God damn it. Let me kill tabs. I've got too many open. There we go. Morning, says Ronnie Human Jelly. Morning. Is Bib still there? He's not said anything for a while. Blink twice if you are alive. Yes, he's there. Yeah,
Yeah, still there.
Are you excited about Toyota coming back to Forza, or are you not really bothered?
Again, it's just it just comes down to licenses. People can throw money one way just to have them exclusively in their game and then shout about it from the top of the rooftops. The only thing it damages is the people that are playing the games. And I think that's going to be a running theme throughout the rest of today and with the rest of the stories that we've got as well. But again, it's just licenses. Just let everybody, if you are Toyota, just let everybody pay you to use your brands in the game. It doesn't have to be, we're going to pay you $1 million more just to have you in our game and then everybody else can't use them. It's shit, really. But yeah, I'm glad that they're coming back into other games, because I echo your thoughts that you just mentioned a minute ago about falling in love with these cars because you were playing them in games growing up. So yeah, that's just all it comes down to. Just let everyone play nice.
Yeah, exactly. It is a bit. It's a bit of an unthought through statement. Sorry, we're only in games that don't promote. It's clearly that's something top down. I imagine someone internally has gone, yeah, we're not going to be in those games because we want to be seen to be responsible car brands. We don't want to be seen to be illegal street racing. So someone's probably said something like that, maybe not that in depth internally, and that's kind of filtered down to the point where someone's thought, okay, this is what people are saying internally. We're clearly fine to say this on social media. So they've thrown that out, and then it's just kind of like on, mate, the fuck? People don't realise that if you buy Need for Speed Heat, you have bought yourself into a life of illegal street racing crime. That's not how video games works. I mean, I've got PUBG. I might have ding 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 ding. By the way, I've not mentioned it today. I've got PUBG, but I don't suddenly find myself jumping out of planes trying to find a pan so I can beat people to death with it before they kill me.
No.
I mean, that's just shopping in Salford in general, but without the planes. So yeah, I mean,
that's definitely come from someone who doesn't necessarily, because they didn't say I play games. It's we play games in the office, so it's definitely someone who probably isn't that probably hates video games or something, but maybe doesn't hate them or has no interest in them. It's like, well, all these fucking idiots driving around on wrong sides of the road and taking people out. Why would we want our stuff in there rather than trying to play it along or trying to be edgy? Idiots.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you look at talking about licensing, and we mentioned it the other day, but look at Death Stranding and their Monster partnership. Monster sales, I think, went up like a stupid amount because Monster was in the game and had some prominent placement, and it was like a well done activation. Doesn't necessarily mean that Monster condone invisible monsters and delivering babies in jars of pickle juice, does it? I mean, oh, sorry, we're Monster, we don't deliver babies. We know! We don't need to say that. And it seems like they've kind of opened up a little bit. The fact that it's coming to Forza, hopefully that's going to be a step forward, because it's nice to have the simulation element and have the real world games in there, but I don't play Forza and Gran Turismo because I've said this kind of previously with the Pokemon games. I want to experience new experiences, and for me, if I want to drive a car fast, then I live in Salford, so that's what happens. I'm only joking. Please drive responsibly. But if I wanted to play simulation games, I've done that. Yes, things get more realistic and immersive, and it all looks cool. But once you've done that 10 years ago, you kind of just get the same, but with a little bit more polish. Whereas Need for Speed Heat and those races and the graphics and driving cars stupidly, yeah, that is kind of the same still. But they can add to that new experiences. You can have whatever. And I think for me, I'm more likely to interact with Toyota's brands playing those adventure games rather than traditional racing games. So for them to alienate them instantly off the bat was a bit of a shit show, because it's like, well, you don't really care about that section of your user base, your community. Not that anyone usually says community with car companies, but from a games spectrum, I'm part of a community. So yeah, I'm part of that community. I'd like to interact with their games from that section of the community, their brands from that section of the community. So them coming back to Forza, hopefully that's the start of things, and we see them. Obviously it's probably too late for Need for Speed Heat, but in whatever the next Need for Speed is in 2021 or whenever the next game's going to come out. I love buying the Mark IV Supra and then getting the Fast and Furious livery on it. Which one? Which livery should I say? Mark IV Supra Fast and Furious. Okay, there you go. Yeah. The orange dude holding the spear jobby thing. Is he even holding the spear, or is it just pointing? But yeah, the one that Paul Walker builds with Dom Toretto, and they get the mouse dude to order overnight parts from Japan. That's an in-joke, just the way he says it. Yeah, the orange one. Yeah. But as Bibby said, this whole show pretty much evolves around licensing. We didn't plan it that way. That's just kind of how it is. And speaking about licenses, some new licensing as we move on to our next article. This says that the new Saints Row game will be revealed in 2020. We find out much more about the return of the Saints next year. In August, we found out that a new Saints Row game is being worked on. Yeah, exactly. See, this is more kind of my bag. I want to see. I mean, we spoke about football games. It's nice, but we spoke about car games. Okay, that's nice as well. But let's start getting into something where we can have a little bit more of a meatier playthrough now. Hopefully, saying that, I'm hoping a new Saints Row game will be meaty, because Agents of Mayhem, the last one, was a crack of shit. I played through the first hour on a show that we used to do called The First Hour, or An Hour With, or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, it wasn't very good. Anyway, in August we found out that a new Saints Row game is being worked on. It was revealed that a new entry in this series was deep in development, and though it would be a full Saints Row game, not a spin-off like Agents of Mayhem. Since then, though, we haven't heard or seen anything else about it. Now, Koch Media CEO Clemens Kondratitz has spoken out about the next game in the series, which is in the works within the studio of series developer Volition. There we go. Yeah, I was distracted because I realised I hadn't actually said. This is written by James O'Connor from GameSpot. Thank you, James. So yes, Clements Kondratis has spoken about the next game in the series, which is in the works within the studio of series developer Volition. Speaking with GamesIndustry.biz, Kondratis says that Volition is being allowed to take their time and get it right. With Volition, we have the creators of all the Saints Row games as an internal studio, and they are not going to be distracted by anything else from creating our next game under this important franchise, he said. Saints Row is very close to our hearts, and we'll talk about it next year. For the time being, we just wanted to get the word out that it's coming, and it's going to be great. This is where we need that Frosties advert. They're gonna taste great.
Tony the Tiger.
Yeah. The last official release in the Saints Row series was Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. During this console generation, we've also seen the 2017 spin-off Agents of Mayhem, which ultimately underperformed, leading to layoffs. The rights to the series have been bounced around over the years. The publisher, Deep Silver, is owned by Koch Media, which was, in turn, bought out by THQ Nordic last year. The first 3 Saints Row games were published by the original THQ. The next game in the series has not been named yet, nor is it clear which consoles it will come to. Earlier this year, Saints Row the Third released on Switch, and a spin-off film is being planned. So lots happening in the Saints Row world. I mean, once again, full disclosure, we work with Koch Media, and we covered the release of Saints Row Gat Out of Hell and Agents of Mayhem 2. But I'm not afraid to share my thoughts on both of those. Gat Out of Hell was really good. If you buy into the crazy world that Saints Row has created, particularly through Saints Row 3 and 4, and then Gat Out of Hell. Agents of Mayhem, I just didn't like it whatsoever. So obviously, you can make your own decisions there. Am I saying it to butter up Koch Media because we work with them? It's a shit game. I don't think so. You should redo that Frosties advert with Bibby going around singing, "They're gonna taste great." That's what I was kind of getting at, but I don't know if Bibby caught that because he mentioned Tony the Tiger. So I just kind of left it there and moved on because I thought this is getting awkward. Oh no, this is awkward. Oh no. Anyway, would you play a new Saints Row game, Bib?
I still need to pick up Saints Row 3 for my Switch. I absolutely love the Saints Row games. Maybe not 4 because that was a bit shit. Get Out of Hell, bit shit. But Saints Row in general, I absolutely love the franchise. For me, at the time when Saints Row 1 came out, did Grand Theft Auto 4 come out? Was it around the same time-ish? But I absolutely adored that compared to Grand Theft Auto 4 because I hated the driving in Grand Theft Auto 4.
Oh.
It was shit. I didn't like it. It just didn't work for me, so I ended up playing Saints Row 1, and I think that was actually one of the first games I picked up on my 360. But yeah, honestly, I need to play another Saints Row. Oh, we need another one soon because it was brilliant.
So you mentioned Saints Row 4 and it not being great. I actually didn't mind it, but that is possibly... Sorry, I'm late. I thought it was being a Yorkshireman with a flat cap at first. It's top of his hat's cut off on my cropping of him on the screen. That's all it is. Yeah, I didn't mind Saints Row 4, but I think maybe I got a little bit more... maybe it was because I worked with the game. Maybe I obviously had a little bit of bias towards it then, possibly. But I think possibly the fact that we got a little behind the scenes thought processes and reasons for a lot of the decisions in that game kind of made me more understanding of where it is. A lot of people didn't like the fact that there was things like a wub gun in the game, which is basically a gun that fired like drum and bass, whoop, 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 music at people, made them dance, and you took them out that way. Which I was thinking... Is
that the one that had the dildo gun? Or was it like a dildo baton?
I think that's been in GTA and Saints, the dildo baton. I think everyone loves a good dildo bashing. The dildo is a universal weapon. But yeah, jumping back to Saints Row 4, one of the things I quite liked about it is the design style, the colour scheme. For those of you that don't know, your character, by the time you get to Saints Row 4, you've gone from being a thug in Stillwater to President of the United States, which is far-fetched, and that was kind of the whole point of it. But see if I can... Okay, I've just done a Google image search, so let me see if I can bring this up on screen. I really like the art style, what they were kind of going for. This over-the-top sort of superhero, weird stuff, and it was just all kind of emotive stuff, which was really good for cosplays. And so around the time this came out obviously 2013. If you went to MCM Manchester, or if you went to EGX, or if you went to any of those events, you saw people cosplaying. Obviously, it's a really easy thing to cosplay because they're all in normal suits, but you get a bunch of people together in suits with purple trim, sunglasses, and you get some really good photo shoots. And I think it worked quite nicely for that. Obviously, that is miles away. Oh, what the hell did I just press on then? I'm looking at a Prime advert. I don't know how to get rid of this. That one. There we go. Get out of here. Oh, my IMDb. That's what it is. So yeah, I quite liked. I liked the art style. I didn't mind the direction because I understood from internal discussions where they were trying to take it, using things like the wub guns and that level of pushing the boundaries, making it all just a bit odd. I kind of liked where they took it with there, and it was good as well because like Jim Boone, who's one of the development team from Volition, he came. We did an event at MCM Manchester in like June 2013, whenever it was, and we got time to sit down with him and chat with him about the game, and you could see like they had the real passion for the product. So it's good from my perspective. I mean, I was always kind of on board with the games anyway. Kind of what Baby said then. In terms of GTA 4 had some flaws, but not only did it have flaws, it had delays because the PlayStation 3 got delayed and GTA 4. Did it come out for the Xbox 360 or?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I
think it might have been a case of it came out later or something, and those that got the Xbox 360 early didn't have a GTA game, but Saints Row came out and you had the opportunity to basically play GTA without having GTA, and it was really good. I really enjoyed playing Saints Row. I'd be interested to see where they go though. Do they go back to their roots, and do they go to that realistic Stillwater 3rd Street Saints kind of mentality, or do they go back to wub guns, dildo launchers or whatever, and presidents of the United States with superpowers? Because I mean, I did get the end stuff, but even just saying it out loud, then you start to think, do you know what? Whilst I get it at the time, you take it out of context, you just think, what the fuck? So hopefully they kind of maybe go back more to the roots and reinvent, because you can see how they went through that level of like from 0 to 60 in like 0.0 seconds.
Yeah.
You can see how they then jumped to Agents of Mayhem, because it was kind of almost a logical step up the ladder of what the fuck. So hopefully they go back down the ladder of what the fuck, and then go up a more boots on the ground aspect.
You see, I really like the first one because, like you said, you was kind of just like a gangster, and you were just taking over different areas of Stillwater. To obviously try and gain the territory, and I quite like that. But then it all just went a bit ski-whiff. Like you end up running up walls and stuff like that. The further you went on in the franchise and doing super jumps and that, and it just was a bit Crackdown-ish.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
I
don't like Crackdown either.
It did get a lot of comparison with Crackdown, so much so that there actually was. I don't know if it was in the article itself or maybe something I linked through to. There was actually a Crackdown. I think it was the embedded video of the GameSpot website. There was playing some Crackdown footage then. So clearly the two are interchangeable because that's what their algorithm pairs together. But yeah, from my perspective, I do hope they go back more to the roots. My only worry with that, and it'd be interesting to see what you guys think if you're in the chat on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, is if they went back to their roots, which is unabashed, unashamedly a copy of what GTA had done. But obviously they were the only ones there on the Xbox 360 releasing at launch that had that audience. So they were guaranteed to feed someone that was hungry but didn't have their main source of food yet. You were going to be successful regardless. Now GTA is out. Now GTA releases a game every 7 years-ish. I mean, would you a new Grand Theft Auto game anyway? There's rumours that it's coming at the end of next year, and they also have GTA Online. Would that be less likely for them to have success? So arguably, I mean, I've never heard this said by Volition or Koch Media or Deep Silver themselves. Arguably, they've gone to the extreme with it because GTA was already scratching that itch that people had. If they go back to the root, is there going to be an itch for them there to scratch? Because people have already had it scratched by GTA, if you get what I'm saying. What do you reckon about that? Do you think it'd be a success in its own right, or do you think people would just go, yeah, we've got GTA, mate?
It depends on the storyline. Like I'd 100% play it again, but whether or not I'd enjoy it as much as I would do if it went back to, I think they just need to reboot it with new characters. Obviously, people just want to see Johnny Gat, in every single one of them because of how funny he was and the kind of person he was in the game. But yeah, I don't know if a reboot with completely new characters and stuff like that. Like I can't. Let me just run through the names that they had. Saints Row 1 cast, because there were some major names in there. I think Mila Kunis was in one of them. Was she in the first one?
Did not know that.
Saints Row 1 IMDb. I'm sure she was. I'm sure there was some quite high-profile voice actors.
I know that Robin Atkin Downs has been mentioned. Oh yeah, Mila Kunis is there. Yeah, she was something Winters. This is from I can see as a thumbnail from Teddy K Gaming. Rob Van Dam was a character in there as well. Troy Baker was a character. Troy Baker is Joel, I believe, from The Last of Us. He's in the
he's everywhere.
Uncharted series. He's in the Borderlands series. He's in Metal Gear Solid. He's in Death Stranding. Robin Atkin Downs is in Metal Gear Solid as well.
Yeah, they had some pretty high profile names that did the voice acting in there. So clearly, straight out the gate, they wanted people to understand that this should be being taken seriously. Nolan North is in there as well as one of the radio presenters. So yeah, I mean, rebooting it again and probably getting some high profile people to do the voice acting again may be the way forward for him. So long as it's not like they went down the silly path, but people kind of enjoyed the silly path as well, but not for me. I will be excited to play it again, but I just want to see a true to the original gangster kind of thing to it.
Yeah, I agree. There you go. Mila Kunis was Tanya Winters, and there was a lot of other famous actors in there. And when I say famous, the kind of famous people. I mean, this is going back to just the first one. There's a lot of famous people that you know are famous when you see them. You're like, ah. There's Michael Rappaport, who he's been in a few like American sitcoms, and he was also in Friends. He went out with Phoebe. He was a cop, and he shot a pigeon, so they broke up. Keith David, who's a famous American actor. He does loads of like deep voiced kind of guys. But yeah, so yeah, there are quite a lot of people in there. I hope they do go back to that gangster roots, because I think that is kind of where it resonates, and I think they kind of continued unofficially what San Andreas did. I mean, everyone loved San Andreas because you were that sort of 90s boys from the hood sort of thing. I mean, even now you'll see that, shit, here we go again, like CJ walking back into Grove Street meme kind of thing all the time, because people resonated with that. And what they did was they took that 90s sort of gangster thing but put a little bit more modern spin on it, so it was more like a 2000 gangster spin, and people kind of liked the gritty hood vibe, but then they kind of moved away from that because you were in the gritty hood vibe, and then you ended up being some pretty looking white dude that was president of the United States. Suddenly that's as far away from the hood as you can get. So yeah, Keith David was Goliath in Gargoyles. I did not know that. Wow, Gargoyles was a very, very good TV program that me and David used to watch as kids all the time. Anyway, yes, so hopefully they go back to the roots, and hopefully they can find their voice and their angle and stick with it. I mean, if they do go for gritty gangster hood vibe and do something a bit more modern day, then I think that will be. I mean, it won't step on the heels of GTA 5, because that you do have a little bit of that mixed in, but because you've got Trevor and Mike and what's the other main character called? Anyway, whatever. You've got 3 different stories there. Then if you go back one, you've got Nico Bellic, and you've got that sort of like Eastern European in New York City. It's not the hood vibe. Yeah. And if the rumours that have been shared already are that they're going to go to Vice City, which is, you kind of expect like bibby shirts then, flowery open collar shirts. That's not gritty hood vibe. So hopefully they go back for that, because that could potentially give them a little bit something different to offer to their communities. Anyway, let's move forward, because we're running out of time on the scoop. Not that we have any specific time, but we're almost an hour in, so we don't like it to run over too long, because we want you guys to be able to consume the podcasts on your go. And when I say podcast, we mean the video, which is going to be on YouTube a little bit later today, but also the 4 audio services. We will tweet out the links for those, so make sure you check out Ice Cream Uploads on Twitter to see where our audio podcast services will be. If you want to see that and you're watching on Twitch, !socials in the chat. But now we move on to our next piece of news. As you can see, this is a Polygon article written by Charlie Hall. No, your Origin account wasn't hacked last night, just like Bibby thought it was. It was just EA doing something nice. So give us some context, babe. You thought your account was hacked last night.
Yeah, so I was at like a PC and then told me it's obviously my emails come through and it just says you have redeemed like 1 month of Origin access, which is obviously a paid feature. So we're just like, nah, I ain't, mate. So I clicked on the email and it kind of shows you the email that you're being sent. I didn't read too much into it. I thought I'd just sort it out another time because that's what I do. You know, if someone's hacking my stuff, I don't instantly get on it and sort it out. But yeah, basically the overall premise is if you have two-factor authenticator or whatever it's called, TFA, then they give you 1 month of Origin access for free, which means that you can go in and get all their premium games at a discount rate, which is obviously great. But I didn't even know that was going to be happening. They just kind of did it. But it turns out that they talked about it a tiny little bit, a little bit of marketing behind it. So yeah, I've got a free month membership. But kind of this morning when I was looking around for the news, Twitter went up in its arse about it because everybody thought they'd been hacked.
I'm just looking in my emails now to see if I have the email, and if I haven't, whether I just bin the email. And I don't think I got it, and I don't think I binned it. So I clearly getting hacked right now. Anyway, so no, your Origin account wasn't hacked last night. It was just EA doing something nice, says the article. And Bibi just mentioned the email, which you can see just there if you're watching on the video services. There's right in the center of the screen. Someone has had the same thing. The tweet from Hypercore Ripper says, EA out here scaring everyone half to death with an Origin access purchase confirmation. Totally thought I'd been hacked. It's actually a trial. They apply to all accounts. Stupid bastards. And the email says, you've redeemed an Origin access membership code. So yeah, let's go back up and jump through the article. If you've got a video email from Electronic Arts this morning about an activation on your Origin account, congratulations! No, you haven't been hacked. In fact, your account is more secure than most, and you're being rewarded for that with free games. Here's what's going on. Last month, EA announced that those who opted into its two-factor security system called EA Login Verification would receive a free month of Origin Access Basic. The subscription plan gives folks access to a big back catalogue of games, including Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5. It's a nice gesture, especially considering that Origin security has been a bit lax in the past. Good day, people of the good life, says KazFC. Welcome to the chat. Good morning. You alright? How you doing?
Oh, no, Roy.
This morning, EA flipped the switch, sending out emails to all of the users who qualified. Unfortunately, those emails didn't clue anyone in what they were all about. You've redeemed an Origin Access membership code, the email states, as received by at least one Polygon editor. Of course, that's not true. EA essentially redeemed it for you. That slight incongruity in the messaging was enough to cause a small amount of panic among users. As we enter the new year, here's a friendly reminder to turn on two-factor on all of your accounts that support it. Try a password manager to keep track of your many online identities and use it to generate strong passwords. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to play Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign on PC for the next month in preparation for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. And look at that. See that right in the middle of your screen? That's a GT Omega racing chair. Do you know that they are on sale at the moment? You can get up to 40% off GT Omega products, and you get a little bit more if you use code ICU as well. Hashtag spawn, hashtag ad, hashtag we are partners. Okay, just saying. If only someone was sat on a really sexy, cool ice cream uploads stickered up GT Omega. Oh yeah, I am. There we go. Yeah.
I'm not.
But you could be.
I could have been
if you were in the studio, but we're not. We're not, mate. So, did it catch you off guard?
It most certainly did. It's one of them things where your heart kind of sinks because you think if someone gets into your account, one, they're going to check that. I've had it done with a Netflix account, and some bloke in France ended up getting in and taking it, changing my email address, and then redeeming a year's worth of Netflix kind of thing. But yeah, it happens. So my ass kind of fell out a little bit. It wasn't until this morning that I realised that it was absolutely nothing to do with me. It's just because I've been extremely good and put two-factor on my account so no one can get into it.
Lads.
It seems like the world's ass fell out when they received this email as well. Just reading down the comments that are underneath the article, it seems like a lot of other people, as well as people on Twitter as well, had it. That's what you thought, says Pirate. Yes, that's exactly what I thought.
When I got the email, I was so confused, especially since I hadn't logged into my Origin account for a few months. I decided to just give it a day and see if it popped up in any text sites before contacting EA. And here it is. Good to know it was legit, but I wish they let you choose when you wanted to use that free subscription because it's going to be a waste for me. I think that's part and parcel of it. The fact that they're giving it you now is probably hey guys, look, you can get these free things. Have you noticed that we've just released a big Star Wars game? Wink, wink, wink. It's probably do it now and then buy into it. So yeah, that won't be a decision that they've made lightly, because if they let you choose when you release that, most people are just going to go, okay, well, I'll wait for Battlefield next year or whenever the next one is. Is it next year they're missing out, or this year they're missing out? I can't remember. Either way, you just wait. Quite often EA releases a few games in quick succession, so they'll release a Need for Speed and then a Battlefield or whatever at the same time. So yeah, they're not going to give you the opportunity to hold off for that. But we have one more piece of news. Let's jump over, because not really much to say there. If you've got 2FA on EA Origin, you've got a free month. Enjoy. If you haven't, then you haven't, like me. So as a final piece of news, and with possibly the most distracting advert that I have ever seen. I tried to look at this article earlier, and my God, Games Radar, sort your stuff out. Look at that. Just like Slack dropping crap down the screen, and then you've got a Games Radar pop-up video that is at the bottom corner of the screen that should be playing. Then if you get rid of this Games Radar pop-up video, you've got a Spotify premium ad that's moving as well. Just let me read the article, for God's sake. So this article, which looks like it's been written by Slack, but it's actually been written by Games Radar Plus. By Jordan Gerblick on Games Radar, says Pokemon Sword and Shield Spirits are coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. If you're not into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, then probably not the greatest news for you. But if you are, then it's a nice little extra. I suppose it doesn't help the paranoia with Disney Plus being hacked. Did Disney Plus get hacked? I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know either. So let's scroll down in this article. Add 4 new Sword and Shield spirits to your spirit board. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is celebrating the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield by giving you... Oh my God, those things dropping down the screen are pissing me off. I can't read it. Distracting me. For those of you not watching, the wraparound adverts on this site are Slack, which is a really good instant message service used by businesses, predominantly tech businesses, so we use it on Ice Cream Uploads and Jelly Media. But this advert just has little things flying down the side of your screen, almost as if you're watching a game of Asteroids. And it's so infuriating. You're trying to read something and you've just got things flying down the screen, drawing your attention away from it. So it's actually, whilst they're getting revenue from it, it's pissing me off because I can't read the article. Anyway, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is celebrating the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield by giving you a chance to collect 4 new Pokemon spirits from the Galar region. The event runs from Thursday, November 21st to Tuesday, November 26th, giving you plenty of time to beat and collect each of the new Pokemon spirits. Here's each of the new Pokemon spirits coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate Thursday, which actually make up 7 different Pokemon. So they are... Well, this is going to be fun. Do you want to read through those, babe?
Zacian and Zamazenta, Grookey, Scorbunny and Scobble, Cavani Knight and Morpeko.
What was the first one? Zacian and what?
Zacian and
Zimmer. Them man's got the keys to my bimmer. Oh, am I the gal name? Sorry, anyway, have a little bit of Beanie Man in the morning.
Oh,
so yeah,
set me head west that.
Absolutely, probably 100% likely that those aren't what the names of those Pokemon spirit things are. But yeah, if they are, yeah. If they aren't, then we'll just pretend they are. Just like past Spirit Board events, the Galar region event will likely run from 11 PM PT on November 21st through to 11 PM on Tuesday the 26th. Taking down the new spirits not only adds them to your spirit collection, but also earns you more SP than usual. For the uninitiated, that includes me, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate spirits can be collected and used to buff your character's stats for use in World of Light mode. You can collect spirits by playing through the World of Light and defeating enemies, or by facing off against challengers on the spirit board. In other Sword and Shield related news, Square Shinies are lighting up the Pokesphere, and if the term Square Shinies means nothing to you, it doesn't. You can read up on what they are and how to catch them here. I'm not going to do that. If you're looking to jump into Pokemon Sword and Shield or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's the best time of year to do so. Keep up with our guide in a link where they get some revenue. No, thank you. So, things that I can't pronounce are coming to a game that I don't play. Thank you for tuning in to Ice Cream Upload. we should have really looped in Luke into this, because Luke at Jeroen is our resident ice cream uploads Pokemon nerd. I mean, we're all Pokemon nerds. Luke professes to be the nerd of nerds.
The nerd.
I mean, he usually isn't, but we're just letting play ahead with that. I mean, he is when it comes to Super Smash Brothers. He's the one that plays it more than anyone else. But I mean, we all have a little bit of Pokemon knowledge around us. He also professes to be the ultimate Star Wars nerd. But I mean, I've out nerded him on the Star Wars front many a time. I will have you know. Anyway, yeah, I've just shown off by being a bigger nerd than someone else. That's probably not the one, Graham. Yeah, I mean. What I do like about Smash Brothers, and I'm kind of gonna avoid asking what your opinion is on this, because I imagine, like me, you probably don't have much of an opinion on this bit. But what I do like about Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is that level of crossover that it can have. Obviously, Pokemon isn't anything new in Super Smash Brothers, but I like how whenever there's a game that hits the Switch, there's always that little bit of, are we gonna see Master Chief in Smash Brothers? Snake from Metal Gear Solid, is he going to be back in the game? I love how Smash Brothers has done so much. It's broken so many walls and got so many different characters in, from your Wii Fit dude to Snake from Metal Gear Solid. The fact that they have a little bit of anything and everything, that level of inclusion is almost on the same sort of lines as getting to play as a Stormtrooper in Fortnite, or getting to play as Thanos, or getting to use Batman and his cloak and stuff. Fortnite have done it more mainstream, but you could argue that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has done more for a lot longer time than Fortnite has, which is quite cool.
Well, with this though, I mean, there's a reason why it's still nominated for Game of the Year award. It's because they keep on trying to they keep on making it relevant. Like, say, every time a new Nintendo game comes out, they're trying to force like a little character in there for you to be able to play with. So they are constantly updating the game. It's not a live service game, but the amount they put in it, they might as well.
I lost you. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's a bit shit that it was kind of like was it in Game of the Year category?
Super Smash Bros. Yeah,
and then it was also just kind of like thrown in Family Game of the Year, because it was like, yeah, it's not going to win that one, but let's just throw it in a category where it has a better chance. But I agree. I think the life of this game and the fact that they keep adding to it in such a good way is yeah, it's great for the people that play it in that community. Obviously, it's nothing for me because I have no idea what a square shiny is, and I'm not going to click on that link to find out either. If you guys want to know, you will be able to find it in our show notes, which will be available just below our podcast services and links, and YouTube videos and stuff like that. So yeah, check them out, whatever, mate. But yeah, let's not pay too much attention to that, because we'll just be sat there talking about things we know nothing about, which is kind of what we do for everything anyway, in all aspects of our lives. Yeah. He's the king of the nerds. Who is? Luke is, or I am? I can't remember what I said. So does that mean when I watch my sci-fi shows as a kid, you secretly liked them? No, I just have a lot more knowledge. David, Fatman Dave 8472 in the chat is my older brother, and he forced me to watch through the likes of Star Trek's The Next Generations and Deep Space Nines and Battlestar Galacticas and stuff like that. So I do have some good memories coming from them, but I much rather would have watched Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers again instead of the 5 o'clock episode of The Next Generation or whatever we used to watch. I can't remember. I mean, I do have a little bit of fondness for them now, looking back, but at the time, I mean, Star Wars, yeah, fair enough. Star Wars movies, fine. But yeah, you are a big nerd. And that is that! Anything else you want to add from your side, Bibarino?
No, I don't. Apart from the fact that I posted a tweet out today to say that I will be playing in my second ever FIFA esports tournament later on this evening. About 6:15, that's when the check-in is. I'm going to try and race home to get home for the check-in. We're going live as soon as I do so. So if you want to see me get absolutely trashed at FIFA again, then feel free to join me from 6:30 tonight.
Yeah.
Or 6:15.
I mean, sorry, I'm just going to jump back to chat. Is 8472 your date of birth? Nope, it's a Star Trek thing. It is a Star Trek thing, and I remember what that Star Trek thing is because I was forced to watch it. Species 8472 was some like big, powerful, crazy alien thing. Almost looked a little bit like the things from Pitch Black, but without the long heads. And it was in Star Trek Voyager, I'll have you know. I can't remember much past that, but I think that's enough to remember. So yeah, it's a Star Trek thing. Borg Killers. Oh yeah, that was it. But yes. Bib will be back 6:30-ish tonight if he doesn't get stuck in traffic, giving you some FIFA madness. And when I say madness, the madness is you're going to watch him get trashed at FIFA, but who doesn't want to see that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right for me to say that because I will do nothing but get trashed at FIFA, as Bibs can attest from our Ultimate Teams, our Pro Club games. Anyway, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, from us and today's scoop. Have yourselves a very lovely day. As mentioned, Bib will be back 6:30 tonight. If you can't get back for that, then we will be back 10 a.m. tomorrow morning with more of the scoop. If you are new, make sure you hit the follow button because that will give you the notification when we go live with both of those shows and any other pieces of content that we do on the channel. While you're hitting the follow button, feel free to hit the subscribe button too. You don't have to, but it'll give you that GGWP emote that Dad and Lad Gaming has just put in the chat. GG, Dad and Lad Gaming, GG. So yes, feel free to do that. Follow, and if you want to hit exclamation mark socials while you're there as well, that'll give you all of our social media links. Spoiler, they are all at Ice Cream Uploads. Check it out. Until then, have yourselves a very lovely day, ladies and gentlemen, and until 6:30 tonight with Bib and 10 a.m. tomorrow for me. Stay for us.